Oh, I've still got the dodgy chair. I really need to change that. Hello, everyone. Was anybody here yesterday for our talk? Really? Really? Was there nowhere else you could get a seat? Is that why you're back? I would just like to apologise for yesterday because we weren't too bad yesterday. We're probably going to be really bad today because it's Sunday. It's Sunday con. It's raining outside. Well, it was when I arrived, and it's still 11:30, quite early for us as a weekend. So, apologies if we're not at our best game. This man here is James Lundy, who has put this entire convention together. He does have volunteers that are helping out today, but pretty much everything you see is due to this man. So, you should really give him a round of applause for everything he's put in. He's composing himself. I'm Doug Adamson, and the pair of us, with two other guys, are part of a podcast called Hero Talk, which is found at...
Actually, you can find it on iTunes, just simply type in Hero Talk, and you can also download it from the... Well, we post it online every Wednesday.
It's just tell folks, it's on the internet. Yeah, you'll find it. No, that's not how it works, James. You've got to tell them where on the internet. It's a big place.
You can go on basically everyone on HeroComicShop.com. The Hero Talk podcast is a sort of complimentary service, I suppose you could call it that, podcast which we put up. And a lot of time we have on guests, as much as possible, ramble, utter nonsense.
Yes, absolutely. You mean just, put aside an hour and a half of your life and just think, well, that was wasted at the end of it. But you might enjoy it.
Think to yourself, it's a really we'd like to joke that's the only podcast you need subtitles for.
That's so true. That's so true.
If I actually remember, to be honest with you, we got a song bite from Jason Aaron who just bled away, and he was like, I really do have no idea what you're saying to me. So.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we do have non-Scottish people on the podcast, so you don't need subtitles all the time, do we? It's just some of the time when it's you and me normally, and we start talking about Dumfries. And James and I have sort of known each other for a very long time. We were rivals remember when comics used to be in newsstands and newsagents in the UK, the American ones were...
I used to buy my comics on a Saturday for the newsagents, back when Comag done the distribution. Okay,
yeah.
This is before the days of Diamond and Mud.
Yeah, this is back when you could still buy them in the local newsagents. The DC books would come over.
Every Saturday, or whenever they used to come, I used to go around and I had...
there were 4 shops.
There was 4 shops. There was one in the White Sands, and there was Jason's bit in the...
That's right.
One in the corner for the cinema.
That's right. Patterson's, that was the one I went to.
For some reason, I always used to have sort of like certain issues missing because they would only pick up certain issues.
Yeah, James.
I would have certain issues missing, and there's absolutely no idea who used to get to the places before me.
It was me. Turned out, I used to go after school on Thursdays when the boxes got delivered. So I used to go around all the shops. So I'm responsible for James having to start a comic shop to get all these missing issues.
Aye.
So it's my fault. Which led to this. So that's a good thing.
I suppose so, it's a good thing. You talk about things that lead on and lead on and lead on.
And we digress and we go off on tangents and we get quite sidetracked, which funnily enough brings us to our guest. Because there's one book that you could say can sidetrack you.
It's completely bonkers. What are you talking about?
It's absolutely mental.
Although I tell you what, see, it reminds me, you're saying there's something at least another thing. I remember back when I was at school, it's like, one day, stop daydreaming. That'll get you absolutely nowhere in life. I think you'll find so. It's got me absolutely everywhere.
So, anyway. Do you want to introduce our guest?
I'll introduce the next guest anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, give a massive round of applause for Mr. Ryan Browne, or you may betters, Mr. God Hates Astronauts. Go on, put your hands together.
Please take a seat. Now, hopefully it's not the dodgy ones. Spencer was sitting in that one yesterday. So if you mention zombies, I'm moving. Just, it's not happening.
Hello. Whoa. Am I really that loud?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, good.
It's Sunday morning. We need to be woken up.
Sure.
So you work on a comic book that I tried, and I think the best way to describe it is a Marmite comic. Now, do you know what Marmite is?
No.
Does everyone here where we say it's a Marmite thing, right? You either love it, or you just, you're not touching it.
So it's like cilantro. In the States, that's a big
do,
thing.
is it? Well,
Cilantro,
there you go.
You either hate it or
Maybe it's the same thing,
mind
just
it.
rebranded.
Maybe.
We shall have to check the internet. I'm sure somebody's got the internet to check this. But it's a book called God Hates Astronauts, which I would describe as a cross between, well, if Monty Python was making a US soap, daytime soap, which is bonkers, by the way, and then included superheroes and space-time travel stuff and ghosts, and then decide to draw it and then stick out on the internet and say, hey, if you like it, I'll print it. That's pretty much how I would see your book, because it's genius or it's madness, and it's probably both.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I accept that. It's more of a collection of ideas that make me laugh, and parodies of movies that I love, and then there's kind of a loose narrative of romance. There's a lot of romance in it, which I like romance. It's nice. Most people can relate. So yeah, it is a weird book, but it hopefully when people read it, they understand like a logic to it. Like it's not just random stuff. It's kind of a farce, and it's a parody, and it's playing on all these silly cliches and using them hopefully to comedic effect. So a lot of people don't like it because they don't get it, but people that do get it seem to really, really love it.
I would say everyone has to try at least one issue to say, because I mean, you might think this looks rubbish, or you might think this doesn't make any sense, but there is to my eyes, there obviously is a plan. There's a world building going on. It's not somebody's. I mean, I'm not disrespectful. Hopefully, it's not like you've just sat there and say, "Let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks." There's very much a vibe to it and a thinking behind, and it's. How would you describe it, James? Extraordinary. There's nothing like it on the books. Nothing. I've not seen anything else like it for a very long time.
But actually, sorry, Ryan, from a reader's point of view, I would say when you look at a lot of the books on offer at the moment, you can have all your big things for the big two, your Marvel, your superhero type things, which I love incidentally. And then you've got all your other books, but it's very, very unique. There is nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
It's a book that should have come out in late 80s, indie scene.
Yeah,
the books that were coming out were very imaginative, and those are the things that those are some of my favorite comics. The Tick and Scud.
Big fan of the Tick.
And Milk and Cheese. Those are big influences. I mean, back when, comics got really, really serious in the 80s, and it was fine, and a lot of great work came out of that. But at some point, everything just became so serious, and then comics were. I'm making this comic because I want it to feel like an action movie or a real life, and then all of a sudden, comics were all about what would it be like if superheroes were in a real world, or if superheroes were real people and they had all these conflicts, and all of a sudden, comics which should be extremely fun became no fun, or there were some that were still fun, but. And at the time, I was just kind of sick of that because I was trying to, get jobs working for Marvel or DC and penciling superheroes, punching criminals, not really solving any world problems.
Or punching each other.
Right, or punching each other. Well, yeah, I started the first issue when Marvel Civil War was coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, all right, like what is happening here? Like it just was so. To me, Marvel Civil War was really funny if you look at it the right way, because it was just a man in an iron suit yelling at a man dressed as this guy with little wings and a big A and a
basically
shield
shouting
and
at
stuff.
a flag.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's so bizarre to me that people that are dressed like that and act like that and have these fantastic powers are so serious all the time. And so that's why I decided to make my book. And so it has kind of sensibilities of, the humor comics in the 80s got pushed to indie books. because everyone wanted to do Dark Knight Returns or Watchmen or that, kind of gritty stuff.
I think it's the only things I can think of that weren't that were the tech. Well, the tech was an indie, obviously, but the only thing of the big two was obviously Justice League International, James,
Yeah.
which James and I love, by the way, as you can possibly tell. But yeah, so you did it as a reaction to. Has it been a long gestating project, God Hates Astronauts, or is it just because it came out due to Civil War and just thinking that was just daft and I can do something funnier?
Yeah, well, it was a reaction to spending a lot of time trying to draw superheroes that were having really serious problems, and trying to get these jobs that, I wasn't having any fun drawing it. There was just, to me, there was just no fun drawing it, and I kind of realized that I'm not the type of artist that's going to make, the most badass image. You look at this superhero and they look so cool. That kind of stuff I lost all interest in because it just wasn't fun. It just seemed so shallow. And so so God Hates Astronauts started as a very, very short form thing that was just me doing everything that I wanted to do. And finally, instead of, it was very selfish. Instead of me saying, what can I do to get hired? I said, screw that, I want to make comics, so I'm going to do everything that I want to do. And then it took 5 years for anyone else to care.
Well, you were very successful because you done the massively successful on Kickstarter.
Yes.
So I mean, at some points for me, I've never really took that many jumps with regards to Kickstarter. I've always sort of dipped my toe in it every now and again, but I think yours is one of the true success stories which we've witnessed with Kickstarter. So, I think when you're talking about fun, that is probably one of the key elements because a lot of people got behind it. They could see it and they could see that it was fun. When you've got, just think about it, it's like cheeseburger eating, the kind of it's just utter bonkers, and the husband ends up with a size of this big massive. But I've woke up a few mornings on a Sunday morning with a head the size of big like a burst ball. But it's like that. What's this all about? It's just utterly mental. So I mean, but see when you were doing the Kickstarter, could you give us a brief give us an insight to your process there? Say when you went from the beginning and. Just in case there's anybody there that's thinking about Kickstarter, I mean, you really have put your money where your mouth, this sort of thing, and you've done the Kickstarter, you've made it work for you, you've put your own project out, and I know you know. And you got to come to here. I mean, how awesome is that? You got to come to Edinburgh in this Edinburgh, the only place
we've got weather, yeah.
The only thing that's worse than the weather in Scotland's your attitudes. That's what I suppose, isn't it?
No, we're very friendly, James. You should remember that.
Right, okay.
That's what it says in all the surveys when the tours come. When they go home, we should hear what we say about them. But when they're here, we love them.
Cheers, me. So, can you give people just a wee insight into your Kickstarter?
Yeah, I get asked about Kickstarter a lot, and basically, what Kickstarter came down to is you're running a business. And so you do as much research as you can ahead of time in order to launch your book on Kickstarter. But it's a lot of people rush on Kickstarter, and it's like for me, I knew that I wanted to do God Hates Astronauts as a hardcover book, but I wanted to release it at the right time. I wanted to make sure that I had done all my research, so I did a smaller Kickstarter first for a black and white book I do called Blast Furnace. And that worked out pretty well, and I learned a lot from it, and I made a lot of mistakes. But the thing is with Kickstarter is if you make a mistake, like one of your pledge levels you don't have, or backing levels you don't have enough for shipping built into it, or you can't actually produce all this stuff at a reasonable cost. If people back that, and then you get a lot of people backing that, then your mistake is multiplied over and over and over and over again. So a lot of people can get in trouble with it. So when I did a smaller Kickstarter, I figured out some of the mistakes that I had made on a smaller scale. And then when I went with putting together God Hates Astronauts, I was able to not make those mistakes. I still made mistakes. I think most every Kickstarter makes mistakes. because it's a very, you're running an entire business by yourself. But yeah, I self-published the book for a long time, and I couldn't get many people to read it, and so then I just put it on the web for free, and it's still on the web for free. Like the first 86 pages of the story are still on the web for free, and I think people still read it. But I built an audience by giving it away for free, and I was fortunate enough that people really got behind it. That when I said, okay, now you can pay for a nice version of it to have permanently, people really responded to that very, very strongly. And I think that's if you look at a lot of the comics Kickstarters that have done really, really well, most of them are print versions of webcomics that are free webcomics, because they build your audience. You know, unless you're a big name creator, people tell me all the time, I wanted to make a comic, I put it up on Kickstarter, no one backed it, and then I then talk to them like, well, do you have an audience? Do you have a fan base? Do you have anything built in ahead of time? And they just say no. And so, like, I think the model is pretty simple. You know, give it away for free, promote it over time, try and get other people to help you promote it, and build. You know, you could plan a Kickstarter 2 years from now, you know, and just do your comic slowly over time. You know, it's not some, if you rate Kickstarter, you only have 30 days. You got a 30-day window to have people find out about your book and to purchase it. So what you have to do is you have to plan as much as you can, because you only have that short window. You know, you can't be trying, you know, to change your plan during that 30-day window. You've got to be really clear and focused on it. So yeah, it's a completely different side of my brain from doing silly stuff. It's where you have to be pay attention to numbers and math and awesome. Calculations and stuff. Yeah. So it's awesome. Kickstarter's awesome, but it's also extremely stressful and horrifying.
So what you're saying is that comics don't just rot your brain. You mean you have to actually do proper science and maths and all the rest of it. So that's good.
Of course.
See, anybody whose parents say that, you know, comics rot your brains, say no. You've got to do maths to be able to sell them. So yeah, that's good. I like this. I'm going to use this when my mum complains.
It's not just that. It's the fact that you put your money where your mouth is. Really, honest, you put stuff up on the line for free, so people can get a taste of it. You know, and far too many people really want a handout as opposed to a hand up sort of thing. You know what I mean? So it's amazing that you've done that and you've got like a success story from it. Now, in terms of your character development, where do you get the ideas for? Really? I mean, where do you wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat? You know, you go jaw at pad like, oh, you have nightmares. Did your parents take you to a child counsellor?
No.
Do you eat a lot of cheese? That's the thing that I was told. If you eat a lot of cheese, you get weird dreams. That's only. Is that it? Your dairy state or anything like? You're next to Wisconsin, aren't you?
Yeah,
that might explain it. Yeah.
Cheese curds are
amazing.
That'll be it. I try not to eat them too frequently because of apparently the nightmares that I'll
have. I dream about zombies. It's not a good thing. Yeah. It's really not a good thing.
No, most of my ideas are what I want to draw. That's kind of where it starts. You know, I really like animals, so I want to draw this kind of animal. And then maybe that animal has like kind of I figure out what the role of that character has to have, and then you know, I start with a really broad idea, like this character is like this character from this movie that I like, and then I can think about them when I write them. I can think of the voice of an actor in a film. That's almost all of my characters are based off of an actor in a film, and then they kind of write themselves, because when I'm basically basing them on other people's characters all the time, and then I know what they're gonna do. And so the writing process of the book is actually extremely easy. I've never had any writer's block. I've never had any problems figuring out where it goes, because I understand who these characters are and I know where they're gonna go. So yeah, I mean, this whole book is just basically what I want to see, what I want to draw. You know, I made an executive decision in the new Image series. I hate drawing cars, so there are no cars. So I just draw people flying around with steering wheels on the streets, and it's just an ongoing joke of it. And you know, you understand how people get around.
That is
You don't
just
need
genius.
to see a car because I don't want to draw a car. Like it doesn't help anybody. You know, the people wouldn't like the book more if I was drawing really nice cars. That's not what it's about. You know, so yeah.
Can you just say all the cars are invisible?
Yeah, sure. Why
Yeah,
not?
sure, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Solve the problem.
Yeah, there's I drew in a recent issue, there's supposed to be a cop car. I needed a scene of a guy being arrested in the back of a cop car, but I'm not drawing cars, but I wanted to draw a tortoise, so I just put it on a tortoise. And it doesn't really, it's, you know, it's silly. But
No, it's not at all.
It doesn't have any real point that it's a tortoise. I just wanted to draw a tortoise, and I needed a cop car, and I didn't want to draw a cop car. So there you go. You understand. You understand what it is. You know, that's fine. He's got lights on his head, and, you know.
Yeah. You see, it makes sense when you put it like that. Yeah. When I was reading it, no. But now, yeah. I understand the process a bit better now. Thank you.
Yeah,
Just
no
before
problem.
we go on, has anybody here actually read this book we're talking about? No. Right, there are a few hands going up, right? Does this help understanding the tortoise and all the rest of it? Yeah, it does. That's good. Because it's a revelation to me. So, and I might actually go have to buy some downstairs now because I have read the web version, I have to admit. Didn't sponsor this Kickstarter. I was busy that day for 30 days. But then when I heard you were coming, I then pretended that I had sponsored it, but it was closed, so, you know. Yeah. So your influences are basically wherever the heck you think of, which is possibly brilliant. I just love that.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I have a logic to the world, and everything has to fit within this logic to the world. And basically, where almost all the humor comes from, for me, is that no matter what happens, everybody in the world treats everything with utmost seriousness. Everything is completely serious. Everyone is very serious. Everyone is angry, frustrated. You know, there's a lot of jealousy, and but everything that's happening is totally ridiculous. And so you can have a nice love scene between a woman and a man with a ghost cow for a head, and everybody treats it like it's a normal scene, and that's where the humor comes from.
Yeah.
It's a super easy trick, and it makes the comedy in the book work, but it's also like it's really easy to do.
It occurred to me when I was reading it what it would be like if it hadn't got all the if it was just a script without the descriptions. It would just seem like pretty much anything else that's been produced in movies or TV, etc., with the seriousness going through it. And therefore, it's actually really quality if you did it like that. But the fact that you just draw it as you do means that it's just a different world in a way that's such a good way. You know, it would work if it wasn't drawn like that, but it works far better because it is drawn like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. You know, my main, people always ask me what comics I'm influenced by, but really the main influence is Coen brother films, because they're my favorite filmmakers, they're my favorite storytellers, and they have this weird thing where they shoot every movie like it's a horror film, even though it's not, even if it's a comedy. Even like Raising Arizona is shot like a horror film. There's all these incredible crash zooms and tension all over the place, and it's kind of scary, but it's like something about that makes the comedy even funnier because it's such a scary environment. One other thing about Coen Brothers films that I think is really interesting is that almost every single one of their movies is about someone getting in over their head. And it's always about someone finding money or doing something, hiring people to kidnap their wife. It's always a simple person that thinks that they have a simple solution, and then everything spirals out of control. And they're making comedies, but with this extremely dark, like nervous energy of that situation. And so that's kind of where I'm taking a lot of my motivation from. And these people are, making stupid, reckless decisions in my books, but it's all funny and we can all laugh at it. But everybody in the book is really stressed out and really dealing with intense conflicts.
That's a fantastic way. Well, obviously you've done this before to describe your book, but I think
I do it different every time.
No,
Honestly.
right. Well, an exclusive here, description then. So I think we should really try and see if there's any questions from the floor. I can see hands. Sort of. I have to say we have bright lights coming down here, so we've got to go look like this, and. Have you got a microphone out there? Let's hear it.
Yep. Alright, so since you've been talking about this, I haven't read the book. It sounds like just really. Can you buy it downstairs or anywhere? Just because I heard you talk.
Yeah.
Did you pay this guy?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Thanks for asking. Yes, it is available for sale at my table. I
And
have no
other
idea what number it
retailers.
is.
But yeah,
And
me at the
finer
table, Vincent.
retailers,
Yeah, fine
smart retailers.
Yes. But no, I did see you've got some with you. I genuinely recommend you try it. It's just, yeah.
I hope he doesn't hate it, because
Well,
he's going to come find you.
No, he won't come find me. No, I said some folk love it and some folk hate it, so it's fine.
That's
It's
right.
his chance.
So how much is it? Is it
Jesus.
Oh man, wow. How much did you pay this? Really?
I don't know.
Can you come to my stall later and start selling stuff for me, please? It's the one over by the bar. It's converted. We need to stool because you're quite short, but that's fine. Wow, this is a quality. This is Scotland for you. This is it.
I love it
so
here.
you're selling it, and how much is it? No, I like the book. What's the artwork? That's how we open it. How much is it? Is it any good? And where can I get it? That is quality. Thank you.
What an ambassador.
Sorry, we're taking them out, but that was fantastic. Do you have any other?
Security!
Would you sign it?
Oh!
Yes.
Do you work in retail? Wait, we'll give you one more question. Come on, let's hear. I don't know if you can top that one. Come on.
Has it got a terrorist riding a cow?
What's that?
Try again, sorry.
Has it got a terrorist riding a cow?
Terrorist riding a cow. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if he's got so many crazy things. Does it have that in it?
Does it have a terrorist riding a cow? Does it?
No, it doesn't.
Not yet.
It will now.
It will now. Yeah.
Yay!
Just thank you and
Thank you for your time and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
sure.
was
Thank you.
well done. Round
Actually,
of applause for the best.
stand up. I give him a round of
Please,
applause.
that's fantastic. Well done. Come and stand up. Yeah. You have a bright future at these events. He'll be doing our job next year, James. So, actually, just thinking of things that are in it and not in it, I see there's people that are cosplaying.
What do you want me to
no,
put in it now?
I don't mean like that. I see people cosplaying. We've got Loki over there, got Batman, we've got Spider-Man. We've had people from many manga things that I don't read and therefore have no idea, but they look fantastic. And I'm sitting there going, I really need to read this book because it looks fantastic. And anime, etc. Has anybody cosplayed from God Hates Astronauts?
Yeah, I've had a couple now.
Was it the Ghost Head?
No.
Right.
No.
Folks, we have a challenge for next year.
Yeah. Usually it's King Tiger eating a cheeseburger. I've seen 2 of those. And he's a character, his name is King Tiger eating a cheeseburger. It's a totally stupid joke. But now he's like a main character in the book, so I have to write his name over and over again. And writing in the script is really annoying.
Do you not just have like autocorrect? You put through 3 letters and it fixes it for you?
Yeah, well, I break it down to letters.
Cool.
So it's K-E-T.
Yes,
C-E-P,
you're struggling as much as
something
I
like
am.
that.
It's
Yeah.
a good name.
I write it. It's like 7 letters or 6 letters.
Cool.
For it, but yeah.
So you've had King Tiger.
2 of them, yeah.
Two of them.
It's very strange. Yeah.
Were they at the same convention? Because you can imagine the cosplayer. Oh man, faux pas! I thought I'd be the only one.
No,
That's
one's
okay.
secret.
Right.
It's,
Fair enough.
it's the small ghost cowboy actually that shows up every now. That's where did the idea for the small, the popping up just in the panels from time to time.
The what?
It's just some of the things, just the randomness that pop up from panel to panel.
Yeah.
That just seem to be unconnected. But
Well, it's stuff that I think is funny. I
Right,
mean,
no,
That's
all it
enough
is.
reason.
Yeah, that's right.
That's enough reason. And when you say panels, you mean in the book, not as in what we're doing right now, because
Yeah.
this is not a panel. This is a disaster. Anyway, do we have any more questions? We've got. Oh, somebody's got a microphone. Okay, now you've got a lot to live up to. Okay, So you can plug my stall if you want. I'm okay with that, but go for it.
Right, so this isn't a plug, unfortunately. So I've already
That's okay.
failed the expectations. No, the question I guess was, given that the comic that you're describing, and I apologize for I have not read it, has such a unique voice to it, as an artist, do you fear any degree of co-option by, say, the general marketplace of that kind of concept, especially given its sort of reactionary roots?
I don't know how to answer that.
Do you honestly think someone's going to try and copy it? Really?
Yeah.
Is that your biggest fear, that somebody's going to come in and say,
Sort
you know
of.
what I'm going to do?
It's a very, I don't know. There are books that are kind of bordering on similar. I mean, there's a lot of Adult Swim TV shows that kind of have the same sort of like policy on their humor in terms of, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where everybody is, no one has a sense of humor, and every situation is ridiculous, and so there are. When I started the book, there wasn't much like it, but in the time, like a lot of the Adult Swim stuff, is a similar kind of sense of humor. And I think it's actually the market's kind of grown into having this, being more accepting of the sense of humor than when I was originally making it, because within the last 5-6 years, people love references, people love referential humor, and it's becoming even more like pop culture referential stuff. Just even looking around the comic show, you see so many people wearing like mashup T-shirts of different ideas, or like TV shows and video games and whatever. And I think that sensibility has kind of it wasn't there when I was first doing the book, but now it is there. So I'm not surprised there isn't more that's kind of in this vein.
I'm just thinking there that. Your great question. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out, and it was huge, and it still is huge. Yeah. And then we had Biker Mice from Mars, radioactive black belt hamsters available for sale at my stall. See, I told you, James. I told you to get one in. Sorry, seriously. So there's all those sort of like clone things, but the turtles are still the turtles, and everything else has fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, everything else is GoBots.
Yeah, exactly. Who remembers GoBots? Yes. Available for... No. Actually, I might actually have some in the loft, in the attic. But anyway, that's a long story. Yeah, but... Rock Lords. Anybody Rock Lords from GoBots? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we remember those Saturday mornings.
We're just old.
Yeah, geez. That was a bad time. Bad time. Wide Awake Club, yeah? No. Well, forget that. Okay, that's when we had those sort of cartoons on. Yes. Yeah, they had GoBot cartoons and all the rest of it. Oh, dear. So I can understand your concern, but once you're the first one out there, everyone's holding a candle. They're not going to be as good as. I wouldn't worry about it too much, but I can see the point that the questioner was making. It's a good point.
But I also think that there's a lot of people that don't get it at all. So it's not as sexy of a thing to copy, But if you, people have always talked about that my book is like too weird and it's too strange. But then you look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that was a joke. That whole concept was just a total joke, and it is super strange. But we're just used to it.
Yep.
I always look at Super Mario Brothers is one of the most popular franchises in the world, and it is the strangest, most nonsensical idea ever. They're plumbers, and they jump on mushrooms that have feet, but then they also get other mushrooms that make them huge, and turtles, and it makes no sense at all. It's just
now that you say that,
nonsense.
Up until this point, I thought that would make perfect sense, but my world has just fallen apart.
Oh my gosh,
just
and
crumbled.
they never plumb. They don't fix anything. They don't have wrenches. They never do it. I don't know that they are on the
Are there any actual plumbers in the room? Because was training involved with eating mushrooms and growing to be giant? Were you disappointed when that didn't happen? Yeah.
Do you find Super Mario Brothers to be a very personal thing for you? Do you really relate to it? Yeah, I understand.
So, do we have any other questions?
They also shoot fire out of their hands.
I'm never that good. I've
You
never
know,
managed to do it.
and,
Oh yeah.
and they have like they go into a castle to save a princess.
Is it bashing their heads against the bricks?
Yeah, they
underneath?
bust
It's like,
bricks
who
with
does
their
that?
heads,
Where's
yeah.
the blood? You know, it's mad.
It's the most insane
Yeah,
idea,
not even wearing
and
hard
everyone
hats.
is so used to it.
Yeah. Okay, we've got another question back here.
Hi, I'm a big fan of the series, and
thanks.
I followed it online for a while. And when you said that there were going to be different illustrators coming in for the new stuff, I was a little concerned because you have such a specific style. I was wondering if you had any of similar concerns passing your baby off, or if you were just excited to see a different interpretation.
You know, the core story is always me. That's always going to be me because I honestly can't write a script for anyone on that stuff because it's just I'm making it up as I go along. Like I usually have a loose outline, and then I have a little bit of a tighter outline that says one sentence about what happens on each page, and then I just draw it, and then I change it as it goes along. But I have backup features in the book that kind of tell a side story. I'm really concerned with like building an entire like world and universe, and I don't have time to draw all of it. So, and the great thing about the book is that it's got a really good creator following. A lot of creators really like it, and so I'm able to trick them into working with me for little to no money. So
Genius
it's fantastic.
thinking.
Yeah,
Well
it's
done.
fantastic.
Are you sure you're not Scottish? Okay.
Maybe. And so, like in the new series, I have fake advertisement for a thing called Minternets, which is a mint that lets you go on the internet with your mind. And it just breaks in.
I would so buy that.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Wouldn't it be
genius.
amazing?
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people that work in IT bad breath, solve the problem.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well, so the first installment, so there's one in every issue, and it just interrupts it and pretends it's an advertisement. But the first installment has one of the characters, Gnarl Winslow, and it's supposed to be, it's like a G.I. Joe PSA, and he finds some kids who are up to no good, and he gives them Minternets. He said, you should enjoy these Minternets, and what these kids instantaneously do is use it to look at pornography on the web. And so he doesn't know how to handle this, so he knocks them out so they'll stop doing it. And then so every single installment of the Minternets ad is then how Gnarl Winslow can use Minternets to get himself out of trouble, and it continues as a story. And then in the second volume, there's a new product that I advertise called Environments, that are mints that you eat and you can teleport. And so then that story is a different story, but then it folds back into the Minternet story. And so I've got this side story that's running along throughout the course of it, and I have a really great artist that's drawing it that gives it a different look than any of the other pages in the book. And then on the back of every issue, I have fake quotes, like quotes about the book. And I started with the idea that it would just be these ridiculous quotes, most of which were disparaging what I was doing and talking about how terrible the book was. But then I realized that it would be fun to build characters in the quotes. And so I have a running joke through every issue of this character named Meriwether T. Snopple, and she is the owner of Snopple Beverage Company. And they are not doing so well, and so she has this whole ongoing drama played out in quotes from her that have nothing to do with the book whatsoever. And then I'm tying that in with the Minternets and the environments, and that's coming into the story. So I'm trying to use every single, like the book is very dense, and Image is so great to me, and they say, hey, give us 32 pages, we're not even going to look at it, and we'll just print it. And that's what they do. They have no input whatsoever. And that's one of the reasons why Image makes such great books, because they're letting creators do exactly what they want to do. So every month I have 32 pages to fill, and I can do whatever I want. So I hire friends to draw backup features. I do stupid things with quotes. And yeah, I recently, in the most recent issue, I have a narrator named 3D Cowboy, who's a three-dimensional cowboy that narrates the book. And for issue 7, I have a guest narrator who takes over for him, and it's the comic writer Charles Soule. Because I've been friends with Charles for a while, and
Because he's not like busy at all. No,
yeah,
he's
right.
like
Well,
the least working comic guy
yeah,
I
that's
know.
right. So in issue 7, the narrator is a photo of Charles Soule that appears repeatedly throughout the comic, and I hid him in little weird spots and stuff, and then Charles wrote the narration for it. So
Fantastic.
I'm trying to do as many stupid things as I can before they take away the keys and never let me make comics again.
Well, actually, I think Hollywood should be coming calling very soon for this, because it's just going to make the most bonkers blockbuster movie ever. You said you based all the characters and actors in films and everything. Does that mean you've already got an indication of who you would like to cast in it, or are they sort of stars who are no longer with us?
Some are, which is kind of sad, because when I first made it, they were still alive. Anyways, that was sad.
That is depressing. So
yeah.
if you're going to, Hollywood comes tomorrow, knocks on the door. Don't know why they come. Holyrood would maybe knock, but that's down the road from here. But Hollywood comes tomorrow and they say, right, you've got your choice, live action or animation. What would you do?
Oh, it would definitely have to be animation. It would definitely have
Now,
to be animation.
I don't think it would work as cell drawing. I think it needs to be stop motion.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that
think
would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would look just that bit better.
Yeah, I agree. That would be amazing. I was playing around with the idea. There's a person that makes these paper dolls of superheroes, and he made one for God Hates Astronauts. And I was like, man, we should just in one panel, let's just make this a photo comic where everyone's just a doll, like a paper doll. Wouldn't that be fun?
So they don't have many photo comics in the States, but
No.
it used to be a big thing in the UK. I mean, who remembers? Well, showing your age here, Eagle, and I think Jackie had them as well. Photo comics. Is it just ringing a bell for anybody? Yeah, not many. Okay, James, it's just us again. So, do you have any more questions? Is there a hand going up? I can't actually see. Oh, there is a hand. Yeah, here we go.
Hi. It's just building on what you said about being sorry.
Take your time. It's all right.
I just about adapting it into stop motion animation, and then going back to what you mentioned earlier about the style of humor being quite similar to Adult Swim. Yeah. So would you see an adaptation of this as being something like Robot Chicken?
Well, I mean, that would be fun for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, honestly, like, my main focus is the comic, and
Yeah.
that because
Till Hollywood comes, and
till Hollywood comes, of course.
And then the comic, forget that.
Well,
just
there's
make your
certain
millions.
things you can do with comedy in animation that you can't do in comics, and there's certain things in comics that you can do with humor that you can't do in animation. So it's a little bit of a different language, which would be really fun and interesting to think about. I used to do a lot of stop motion animation. That was like something that I wanted to do for a while leading into college, and then I realized that not only was there no way to make money doing it, but there's also very few people that would watch it. I mean, the great thing about comics and comedy is that you can really control the pace of the story through the storytelling, and you can control your beginning, middle, and end of your jokes very, very well, but based on how many panels you use and where the panels are and what you show in the panels. So it's a very controlled way of doing humor that would be different in doing animation than it would be on the page. But yeah, obviously, if there was ever an opportunity, it would be pretty exciting.
Cool. Any more questions? Another hand up there.
Sorry, I intended only to ask one, but the comment you just made there actually incited a question, and that is, what, if any, restrictions do you impose on your own outlets for creativity, i.e. within the story or in how you do the illustration, that help you sort of maintain the creative process?
I don't have many restrictions on myself. There's the comedy is the book is slightly offensive, but it's offensive in a really fun way, I think. And some people don't get that, and some people just think it's offensive, and there's a lot of swear words and violence and whatever. But it's all in good fun. I don't ever do anything mean-spirited in the book, humor-wise. That's a big thing for me. I always try to keep it light and ridiculous, even when it is a offensive joke or a partially clothed man with an exploded head. Like I try I try and keep it fun. So that's a big restriction that I keep for myself. But I within this world that I've been working in, most anything is possible, and so it really comes down to which idea is the funniest that I'm going to put in there. Like I have so many ideas that they don't all fit, so I've got to kind of vet it and see what is best. And that's why I will use the bulk of the 32 pages to put stuff in there, little jokes that I think are funny, or I put little gags in the panels that don't have anything to do with the story. So far I have not run out of any creative energy towards this. Like it's very easy for me to come up with ideas because it's exactly what I want to do. And when I work on other stuff, it's maybe more serious or written by someone else, it's much, much harder for me to come up with ideas dealing with someone else's framework.
Actually, I think just what you've just said there, in a lot of ways, I was always brought up, it's not what you say, but the way that you say it. So a lot of the time, it's the mastery of the delivery of the jokes. And also, I think it was a young lady was saying something, I was talking about having different creators on it. It could be a bit worrying because would they have the same sort of the way to put the jokes across? You know what I mean? Because some people can tell a joke and you could be falling and splitting over. Another time somebody else can tell the same joke and the timing's off and everything. So I think
that's us, James. That's how we tell jokes. We're terrible.
That's probably me.
No, seriously. If anybody has to listen to our podcast,
ears will bleed.
Yes, anyway, seriously. That's why we have subtitles, because sometimes you just can't listen to it any longer.
No, so I think definitely the way you put it across definitely enriches it, as opposed to maybe if you put your baby in somebody else's hand, God takes astronauts in somebody else's hands, it could become quite. It'd be quite good. Do you feel in any way possessive now that it's like your baby and so like I suppose I'm not going to compare it to George Lucas with Star Wars, you know what I mean? But that was his.
Although Jar Jar would fit in really well.
No, that was his brain.
What about Raj?
Oh,
That's Jar Jar backwards, and then he just says Jar Jar, but he's upside down.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
George Lucas wouldn't get mad.
Yeah. Sorry, just clicked. Yeah, sorry. It is still Sunday morning. No, it's Sunday afternoon. That's really bad now. Really.
Dear me.
Yeah.
No, but I just think. Are you you're not going to get possessive to the point of George Lucas because that was really his brainchild, and God Hates Astronauts is your brainchild. But
I am crazy possessive. I'm very. It's been tough for me on the new series. I don't color it anymore because I didn't have time. So going through the process of finding a colorist was very difficult for me because I'm extremely particular because I want it to look a certain way. So I've been trying to be better to work with and not micromanage the people that have to work with me now, and kind of embrace the decisions they'll make that aren't what I would do. And it's actually made the book better, not having 100% control. I have 85% control over it now, and I'm okay with that. But
I'm gonna hit 84.
Yeah, right.
Game over, right?
I know. Yeah. But yeah, I have a lot of people doing covers. I have a variant cover on every issue. That's a different, friend of mine that likes the book. That I'm thrilled to collaborate with people, and it's really, really exciting to me to see other people drawing my characters, because that still is a bit of a nerdy, oh my gosh, someone else is actually drawing my character. It still is really thrilling. I had Jeff Darrow did a variant cover for the first issue, and he is my favorite comic artist of all times. And that was crazy that he would be drawing my character, because I've probably drawn his characters many, many times, and so that's a really thrilling thing. So that's giving up a little bit of control that I don't know what the end product is going to be, but I'm deferring to someone above me, so that's a really thrilling thing. And I've had like the variant covers on this. The list of artists that I've gotten on for variant covers on this new series is to me like mind-boggling. Like it's amazing that I've tricked so many people in working on the book. Issue 1 was Jeff Darrow, then I had Jim Rugg, Chris Burnham, Paulo Rivera, Nick Patera, Gene Ha just did one that's coming out soon. Then Trad Moore, and then Ryan Stegman is working on one right now. So it's been, that's one of the most fun parts of it is giving up the control of the cover to have someone that's better than me do a better cover than I would do. I accept that.
Oh, we didn't mean better, just different. Looking at something differently, you know what I mean? I say tomato, you say tomato. You know, yeah. Go on, so. Yeah. Actually, is there any more questions? Because we're getting close to the amount of time.
I do have a question, however.
Okay.
If you were given free reign, not to do your own stuff, but you were given any license out there and they said, you know, we need to reboot this, we need to redo it, it's not working. Is there anything you'd say, I'll stop God Hates Astronauts for maybe 6 months and go and work on that, and then come back to, because I don't think you'd ever going to give up God Hates Astronauts, and it's going to take a lot of your time, but is there something you'd say, I'll take a hiatus and I'll reboot this for you, or I'll create something for you, just, is there anything that you really would like to have a crack at? Just because the example I'm thinking of, one of the other most famous self-publishers is Jeff Smith with Bone, who then went on and did Monsters Society for DC, for Shazam for a few, I think it was a three-part series, I think, and then he went back and did his own stuff.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would be willing to, you'd want to have a crack at anywhere, of any of the licenses?
I would love to do The Tick. That would be great to do The Tick.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to work, The Tick is published by New England Comics, and I used to work at New England Comics.
Really?
Yep.
Hang on, wait a second. When were you there?
2006, 2005.
Oh, right. Oh, no, I was there 2000. Wouldn't have bought anything from you.
Okay.
So, okay, just checking.
Just because of my personality, you would have.
No, just I wasn't there at that time.
I'm really good at selling books.
Well, not as good as that
please
kid.
don't insult
That
me.
kid's far better than you are. He's done brilliantly. In fact, there's a job going here. Yeah, I've been to that store, and I just thought that would be really weird if we'd bumped into each other and I'd actually bought a comic from you. But obviously that wasn't that time.
I know all the guys that would make the decision to, and I tried over and over and over again, that they don't want to do anything with it, which is really strange. They won't give anyone any more rights, and they don't want to do anything.
Because Ben Endland, the creator, is off doing Gotham and all these other
he's in Hollywood writing, but so it's not ever going to happen. But The Tick and Scud would be amazing too.
Yeah.
But Rob's done with comics altogether, so I don't think that's an option either.
Well, that means there's maybe space for you then. That's maybe a good thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I would love, and it's not a possibility, I'm almost certain, but I would love to do something with Next Wave. Because Next Wave Agents of Hate that's probably my favorite Marvel comic in the last 10 years. It's almost 10 years old. It's probably 10 years old now.
There's a strange thing that I was noticing this when I was pricing out my comics to sell recently. I'm going, that only came out like 5 years ago, and you look at the cover and it's like 2000, and you're going, wait, that wasn't 5 years ago? It's 15 years old? Like, how did that happen? And I think it's because the modern age has just been elongated, for lack of better terms. It's, there was the golden age, there was a platinum age, the golden age, the silver age, then the bronze age, and then whatever age we're in now. We were discussing this yesterday, and I said that we should have called one of the ages the tin age, because all they had tin foil covers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the golden years.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, but the modern age in some respects, it just keeps on going. There doesn't seem to be a cut-off point. So you look at books and you go, I'm sure that came out 4 or 5 years ago, and you go, well, when did that come out? And you realise it was age. When was Civil War? I mean, that was
2005. 2006.
Exactly. I mean, to me, that's something that's been recent in recent memory, but it's obviously not.
I see a big jump in probably the Ultimates.
Yes.
The Ultimates was like a genre-altering book, because it was, and it started with the Authority as well first.
Available
obviously.
for sale at Adamson's, I think, over the country.
So that really changed. That was the first book that was like, let's make this comic book a movie, and let's make it long form let's we're going 12 issues. The story's going to take 12 issues. Let's decompress this so we can have bigger panels with more action. And comics changed a lot after that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes.
The other property that I would die to work on, and I don't know if you had this here. It's a Marvel comic that came out in the 80s called NFL Super Pro.
You're kidding me. I have issues.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the first issue. I read that. I loved that book.
It's amazing.
It's mental.
He's a super professional. He's a super pro.
Yeah. Genuinely, Spider-Man was in the first issue, wasn't he?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See, I'm not making this up. I do have this.
I forgot. It's something like...
I think I actually have some for sale, James. Seriously.
He was... I'm trying... It's been too long since I've read it. He was like a professional football player that got injured or something, and then he became like a...
They gave him this massive... He was like Iron Man type suit.
Yeah, well, he became a sports memorabilia collector, and then someone robbed him, and there was a fire, and then he rose from the fire of the sports memorabilia to become a super professional.
Whereas the real football
American
professionals,
football,
when they got robbed, become O.J. Simpson.
And he had the NFL's logo on his helmet and on his chest, and it ran like 10 issues, and is co-owned by
NFL
American
property.
football, NFL and Marvel, and so you can't use them anymore. Like that's
See, I'm a massive NFL fan, huge.
Yeah.
I'm a Dolphins fan. If anybody cares, I really feel bad.
I'm seriously starting to lose any.
See, this is more like our podcast now, because now we're off tangents to NFL Super Pro. But yeah,
you guys need to check out NFL Super Pro.
I genuinely think I might have a couple of copies with me. I'll double check.
Yeah,
but
the
it was
comics
bizarre.
are worth nothing.
They're genuinely in my 50p bin if I have any of them. But they are. It was bizarre. It was such a great. It's this concept of let's give this guy superpowers. But since then, there's been a number of NFL players who are producing their own comics through Kickstarter, etc., where they give themselves superpowers.
Yep.
And in fact, one of them was on Toy Hunter a couple of months ago, and I think he plays for the Detroit Lions. Really tangenting right now. This is impressive.
Should we just go?
I'm thinking we're about to. We're going to be kicked off in a couple of minutes. But they're creating their own comics, and they're guys that were. And I'm going to bring this back. You're going to be impressed. Mm-hmm. They're guys that read comics as a kid and got to the point where they said, "I've got a bit of money, and if you're in the NFL, you've got a lot of money." And they said, "I'm going to make a comic," and they're doing what they want to do, just like you. Only they're massive stars and athletes, and you're beavering away at the other end of the spectrum.
I'm small and doughy, and I wear glasses.
But I bet you're outselling them 3-1 minimum.
Maybe.
Wait,
listen, I've read them. They're not good.
I live in Chicago, and there's a football player named Lance Briggs. And Lance Briggs is writing his own comics, and my local comic shop had a signing for him, and it was crazy.
Yeah,
so
but that's
the amount of copies that they were selling
in
that
Chicago.
alone.
It's not selling in Miami. I'm telling you now.
Probably not.
But you're international. That book is not going to sell in Glasgow or Edinburgh or Dumfries. It's just not going to sell.
I wonder how Super Pro sold over here.
I don't know. I do remember buying it. I mean, do you know what? Again, sorry, digression. I remember finding it in a 3-for-1 deal at the Works on Princes Street. They just like loads of old comics, and they just stuck a 3-for-1 sticker on, 3-for-1 pound sticker on. They just stuck them out there, and there were some absolute, Battle of the Planets was in there, and you're going the Alec Ross years, and you're going, that's not that bad. That's not 33 pence worth of comic. That's a bit more. But they did have loads of NFL Super Pro. And I used to run the American football team in Edinburgh, the Edinburgh Wolves, who are playing today, but it's raining, so don't bother by going. They're actually down at Meadowbank. And I got around 25 copies of that. And it cost me, whatever 25 divided by 3 is, £6, I think. No, £8. Yeah, something like that. And I gave them away as presents to people, and they looked at me as if I was insane. Said, "This is a real book." It was a real book. It had Spider-Man in it. We're not making this up. It was fantastic.
I'm trying to think about what deals I've gotten that I can talk about. Deals on comics.
Oh,
is that what we're talking about now?
Well, I don't know what we're talking about now. I was trying to bring back.
One time I bought a trade for 50% off. It was awesome. I paid only half of what it should have been.
Well, there you go. Deals like that are available from many retailers within this store. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm only allowed so many plugs for my store over the quarter because I'm just selling off old stuff. My wife said to me, "You're going digital." I said, "All right, okay." because there's just far too much space. But that's the other thing, because I've read your stuff digitally on the web. It's really annoying. I can't get anything signed, because if I bring my iPad, well, I don't have an iPad, but if I bring you a tablet, I can't read anything once you've signed it. It's rubbish.
Digital is no comparison to having a nice comic book or a nice trade in your hands, because you can just find yourself transported to another world. Digital, you don't have the same sense of loss of time. I was forced to go down the digital route because my collection was too big and we did not have space. That was my decision. What do you prefer? Do you prefer digital? Do you prefer the old-fashioned comic book?
Oh, definitely. But the interesting thing is, when digital came around, people were very concerned that it would take away print sales. But if you look at it, digital sales are steadily increasing, and print sales are also increasing. So it's not taking anything away. I think there's a lot of people that will buy it twice, honestly.
Yes. If it's good.
If it's good, they'll buy it twice.
If it's bad, no.
Yeah.
But if good, yeah.
And it's a really fascinating thing because, the single issues stay in print that way. You can always find them. And so, I get, statements from Image on what I'm selling, and I sold, 20 copies of issue 1 this month or whatever. And it's like, how did that happen? Well, it's all the digital sales, and it's a really interesting thing that people can, buy digitally. But comics are a collector's market. Most people that read comics love the physical thing. That's a big part of it, and that's never gonna change. And I think everybody's aware at this point that that's never gonna change. It will always be both ways.
There's nothing quite like when you go to a convention and you go through the long boxes and you're looking for back issues and you find something you've maybe forgot about, and you open it up and you've got that smell of a comic book. See, you've got to look forward to actually, just when, future generations will be going through going, I need that issue of God Hates Astronauts to fill my collection because I'm a completist. I need that complete run. So
I was at a comic show recently, and I realized that I had never seen what was inside the Death of Superman bag. Because I had it when I was a kid, and it was like, this is going to be worth a lot of money.
I bought two.
I can't open this bag. And so I went at a comic show, and I recently opened Death of Superman for the first time ever.
Did you put the armband on?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm going to start wearing it at the shows. But it's interesting. It has all this like fake newspaper clip. Like, it's an amazing little package.
It was a brilliant package.
It also has a poster that has a drawing of Superman's funeral. And the best part about it, it's got all these DC superheroes that were popular at the time. Like, it's Strange who's up front, but and they're all wearing Superman armbands, mourning him. But Darkseid is there, and Darkseid is wearing a mourning Superman armband.
Yes.
It is so strange, and he looks sad. Darkseid looks sad at Superman's funeral.
Yeah, that just makes no sense. And that pretty much is how our podcast sounds. It makes no sense. You've summed us up in describing the Death of Superman. I have that. I bought two. That's how completist I was back in the day. I bought two. Opened one, kept the other one sealed. And there was a guy on TV not too long ago saying, I've got this and it's worth a fortune. And my mum phoned me up. And does anybody else have this problem that something appears on the TV and your parents phone you up and say, do you still have that comic that I sold you to throw out 30 years ago and it's now worth a fortune? Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. But my mum phoned me up and said, yeah, there was a guy on TV and they had that Death of Superman, and that's like 20 years ago now. Maybe 25 years ago. It's a long time ago. And I said, yeah. And Mum goes, yeah, it must be. He says it's worth an awful lot. And I said, no, Mum, it printed like 1.5 million copies. Yeah. Trust me, it's not worth that much. Sealed, it's maybe worth quite a bit, but not because I think it was like talking £300-400. Like 6,
really?
7. Yes. Jeez. And I'm going, that's TV numbers. They've just made that up. There's no way that's worth that.
I bought
Although if I do have one for sale, it will be of that value.
I bought it sealed for $7.
See, there you go. Yeah, and that was a good price, I would say.
Yeah,
that was a good price. That was a good deal. I think we should wrap up now because you've got to get back to sell your comics because this boy's been doing a really good job in telling you how.
Well, we wrap up. But what was the print run for God Hates Astronauts? Because Image do good print runs. They don't do. They're very clever, by the way. Very, very clever company, and they do respect creators like yourself. But and you look at the print run, not too massive, and you look at things like Walking Dead with the first print issue 1. Boom, if you were speculator.
Yeah, talk about zombies again, James. I like that.
What was the print run for God Hates Astronauts? just to satisfy my curiosity before that.
Issue 1 was a little over 15,000.
15,000?
Yeah.
So it's very respectable, it sounds.
Do you have any of them for sale? Sorry, I'm taking your job here. Sorry, I'm sorry about this. Do you have any of them for sale?
I don't have any single issues.
No
with
singles
me,
for sale. There you go. Unfortunately, but you've got the trades today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See, there you go. That sounds fantastic. Well, I think we've basically sold the book as best we can, which wasn't the real reason you're here, but it is sort of the reason you're here, because we're to talk about the creative process as well. Hopefully, you enjoyed our ramblings and going on about stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
It was great. Is this your first trip to Scotland?
Yes. Yep.
Right. How long are you here for?
I leave Monday morning.
Monday morning. Yeah, you're probably going to see the best of the weather.
Yeah.
So apologies for that. Come back another year.
No, we were here early.
Oh, that's
and
okay then.
So we did everything outside already.
Oh,
We did
fantastic.
Arthur's Seat. It was beautiful.
Brilliant.
It was nice out. So
Summer in Scotland's the 2 best days of the whole year.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fantastic.
And if we ever knew which those 2 days were, we'd be really happy. We'd be able to book them.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be fantastic. We genuinely haven't a clue.
Folks, can we give actually
Thank you very
Ryan a
much.
big massive
Yes,
round
thank
of
you.
applause, please, before we ramble on? And incidentally, that young man, come down and see me downstairs. You've got to get something special for those questions, so I'll come and see me when I come down.
Thank you, everyone. As we said, we are on a podcast, James and I, and Matt and Ian, who's also called Douglas, which confuses things when James calls people by the wrong name. We are generally roughly once a week, but things change because James goes conventions to organise and run, and that changes times. So if you want to find us, we are available. James, I'm sure we'll putting a link. If you go to the Facebook page for this convention, we'll put a link on there, and you should be able to find us at some point. That's if you want to spend an hour and a half trying to figure out what the heck we're talking about. Anyway, thanks very much, everyone. And who's up next? James.